Hi, everybody. Hi. Thank you guys so much for coming. Sorry for being late, everybody. I think the person I'm going to be interviewing and his wife, I think they're having some technical difficulties. So I'm still trying to get them on. So in the meantime, let's chat. We can talk about some of the things we're going to be covering in today's show. But first, let me know how you guys are doing. How is everybody? Hi. Hi, lovely rebel. Hi, how are you? International Foreign Exchange Training Institute. Hi. You guys are in Colombia. That's so cool. Welcome. So, yes, so the couple that I'm going to be interviewing, they're having some technical difficulties. So, we're just going to wait for them to see if we can get them on. So, in the meantime, I would love to discuss life in Colombia and how to move to Colombia and any questions that you guys have so we can get the conversation started. Hi, La Quinto Fox. Hi, Carolyn Adams. Hi, it's J Rod. Hi, nice to see you. Hi, David. Nice to see you. How's everybody doing? Eduardo. Oh, North California. Nice. Welcome, welcome. So as we're waiting for the lovely couple to try to iron out the technical difficulties, we're gonna get started. So let's talk about Colombia. Anybody have any questions? I know some of you have messaged me about possibly moving to Colombia, which is super awesome, which is a great, great decision. So let's see. J Rod, I'm back in New York now. I was working, I had a 3 or 4 day trip. I'm back in New York now. I'll be back at work maybe in like 2 or 3 days if those flights aren't canceled. So it really just depends on how the flights are looking. Typically, they cancel the flights if it's under a certain amount of confirmed tickets. So we really don't know ahead of time. But right now, I'm in New York City. All right. A lovely rebel. I'm trying to keep up with these lives. I'm trying to do better. I told you guys that I was trying to do better. So this is me trying to do better. All right. So we are going to be talking about the process of moving to Colombia, if that's what you want to do. This is more for like a semi-permanent to a permanent stay. If you guys have interest in that and relocating, then definitely ask your questions. I can give you some advice. I can share some of my own experiences. Hopefully, Andre and his wife, Andrea, are able to join us because I would love for them to talk about their experience and also finding each other in Colombia. So I think that would be really great. So hopefully, they can work out their technical difficulties. I know we're all in quarantine right now, so I want to make sure that we all can have our questions answered. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Rodney. Hi, Rodney. Hello, my favorite friend. How are you today? I'm doing great. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are staying safe. Let's get the conversation started. So let's see. Anybody have any questions about moving to Colombia, relocating to Colombia, the process? For me, I took the route of teaching English. What I did, I got a job in Bogota first. I was hired through Skype interviews, a series of interviews, and then I moved there, completed a training for a specific school, and I worked through them. Then eventually I didn't like teaching there anymore. So I started teaching online, and that's how I ended up working from home while living abroad. So that was the route that I took. There are different routes you can take. You don't have to teach English to move there, but I think that is probably the fastest way to get there and to have an almost guaranteed job before moving there. But there are other ways you can move to Colombia or another country to get started with that. So Let's see. Any other questions? How much did you pay for your course to teach English? That's a great question, J Rod. So there are different avenues that you can take. Some people, if you have a college degree, like a bachelor's, you really don't have to take a course as long as you are a native speaker or you have a C2 level in English. You really don't have to. I personally did not finish college, so I took the teaching English as a second language certification course. I got mine's online. You can do it online or you can go to classes and do it that way. Um, for me, the specific course that I took, they had a special that month. So instead of like $300 or $400, I ended up paying around $200, and it is self-paced. They give you about 6 months to complete it. But if you do it every day, if you like do one course every day, it should take you about 6 weeks. But they give you 6 months to complete it before it turns null and void. So for me, it was about $200. You can probably find it for that up to $300 for different courses like that. Some people complete it in a month. I took my time, and it took me about 6 weeks to complete that. And that's only because, like I stated before, that's only because I did not complete college. I don't have my college degree. So I felt it necessary to get my TEFL certificate in order to teach English. But if you have a college degree, it's not necessary to get a TEFL certificate, especially in South America. In South America, you can go as a native English speaker or a high proficient English speaker without a TEFL certificate. So if that's what you're waiting on to move to Colombia, you don't have to. You can move to Colombia and teach English with a bachelor's degree. And I'm talking about a bachelor's degree. You don't have to have a bachelor's in teaching. You don't have to have it in English. You could have it in science. You could have it in musical theater, as long as you have a bachelor's degree, you're pretty much set with teaching in South America as a whole. And most other countries too, like Asia and in certain parts of Africa, you can teach with just your bachelor's degree. So if that's what's stopping you, don't let it stop you. Once the lockdown is over and it's safe to travel, go do it, because you don't have to have a TEFL certificate. I found it useful for me because I wanted to have specific ways of teaching. Especially, I don't have my college degree, like I said, so I just wanted to make sure that I will be going into a competition of people with college degrees. I need to have something, so I made sure that I had that. Let's see if there are some other questions regarding this. For online, J-Rod. Okay, so yeah, so it was about $200. They had a special. I'm sure if you guys want to go the online route to get your certificate, I'm sure there are specials now because nobody's traveling and everybody's home right now. So I would say right now is probably a good time. Even the company that I went with, they're emailing me now saying, "Hey, do you want to continue some more courses? We have specials." I'm getting all those emails, that like the promotional emails. So I'm sure you can find some great deals right now because no one can go anywhere, and everybody's in the house. So I'm pretty sure this is a great time to get that done. Like I said, for me, it took 6 weeks, and I just took my time. Every day after work, I did a lesson, and it took me about 6 weeks to complete. So you guys should look into that now if that's the route you want to take, moving into Colombia. Let's see, any more questions? Let's see. Hi, Deja. How are you? Let's see. What company did you go through? What do you mean, J-Rod? As in the TEFL course that I took? There are a lot. I would recommend a few. If you guys don't mind, I can put that in the description box after the live stream, just so I can give you correct information, because if I go on the top of my head, I don't want to misspeak. So I can put all the info in the description after the live posts. Let's see. Even with a degree, it's still another certification to help. And it definitely can help. And listen, I think it's a great idea to get certified. Don't get me wrong. But if you're waiting to get your foot through the door because of this certificate, you can still get a job. I've worked with some teachers that did not get certified, but they had college degrees. They passed the interview just like I did. So it's not really just based on, oh, you're certified, this and that. Because remember, this is a different type of job skill. This job skill is being able to speak English. And if you can do that efficiently, you are more than halfway in, and you're going to a country where English is a secondary language. So it's not something that you will have a lot of competition with if you are talking about the locals. You, as a native English speaker or proficient English speaker, you have a leg up when it comes to the people who live there who are certified, and that can be fair or unfair. I'm not sure. That's up for debate. But the reality is, if you are a native English speaker, you have an advantage over the teachers who are there, even though they've studied how to teach English, So you can get certified, and it definitely is a leg up. For me, because I didn't have a degree, that is why I chose that. But it is really beneficial because not only are they teaching you like the parts of speech and all of those things of what's required, it's also teaching you how to teach. And if you don't have experience in a classroom, if you don't have experience teaching anybody anything, this course is really, really good in that way. So whether it's the online course or the in-person course, it really is helpful. So if that's what you're worried about, definitely do the course because it will teach you how to teach people English. So it is highly recommended. Let's see. Did they pay you in USD? No, they didn't pay in USD. So how they thank you, lovely Rebel, for that question. How that normally goes is they'll pay you in the country's currency. In this case, it will be pesos, Colombian pesos. However, depending on what company you go with, like what school you go with, or institute you go with, it can vary what the pay is. I don't know what the going rate is, but for me, the company that I went with, I don't want to disclose their name, but if you would like to like DM me and ask me some more in-depth questions, feel free. You can do that. My Instagram will be in the description below. But they were paying a little bit above the middle class rate. So I was able to live more comfortably than a lot of people. So it wasn't I didn't have an issue with eating or paying rent or anything like that. It was fine. However, I just didn't like the structure. My classes, when I teach online, they're fun. They're, very entertaining, and it keeps people talking. And for me, the way that they told me to teach, which what you had to teach their way, there was no deviating from what they say. That kind of made me feel very enclosed. And then also the hours, for me, my purpose was moving there to learn Spanish. So the hours were kind of long. And if I were to be in the classroom all day, 5 days a week, where's the time to learn Spanish? Where's the time to talk in Spanish? I'll be talking in English all day. So that's why I decided to leave that specific institute and just teach online. But it was so much better to teach online for me because I was able to dictate how I taught my classes rather than the institute telling me how to. And then also, I made more money teaching 2-3 classes a day than teaching maybe 5-6 classes a day all day, So for me, it was a better decision. So I ended up leaving that institute and teaching on my own. So it was better for me. But most institutes, lovely Rebel, they pay you really good. I was living, even before I went on my own to teach, I was living in a very nice neighborhood, quiet. close to everything. I was able to take public transportation or take taxis, whichever one I wanted to do. So they pay you really good, but it just depends on what institute or school, because if you do an institute, most times you're going to be teaching adults most times. So they'll probably pay you more. Schools, if you're doing a public school, maybe a little less. If you're doing a private school, maybe a little more. So you would have to see what company it fits you best. And then also what teaching style do you have? Because teaching kids is a whole different ball game than teaching adults. Let me tell you, if you guys have no experience with dealing with children, I will very much suggest that you get a little training. Schools usually provide training, but some schools don't. So please, please, please just know it's easier to get a job teaching children because they need teachers. But it is a whole different ball game. So make sure you guys are ready for that if you have no experience teaching kids at all in any capacity. I hope that answered your question. But for me, I was able to sustain a good living quality of life with teaching 2 to 3 classes a day online. So that's to tell you, like, if you were to go on your own, it'll be better for you. But that was my decision. Honeybee asks, what is the culture like for a Black American living in Bogota versus Medellin? I'm looking to move since I can keep my American job working from home. That's awesome, Honeybee. And that's another thing. You don't have to just teach English, guys. You can find other online jobs, or if you have your own business, you can move abroad. And then you can just apply for an entrepreneurial, I believe it's an entrepreneurial visa. And you could just register your company within the country, and it gives you, it may have changed since then, but they probably don't change the rules that often. But when I was last there 2 years ago, it gives you about 2 years in the country, and you can come back and forth, go home and back to Colombia. So it doesn't have to just be teaching English. I didn't have my business established yet, so I'm like, gonna teach English. But for your question, Honeybee, the culture for a Black American living in Bogota versus Medellin, I think that's a different kind of question. So let me just check to see. Okay, so Andre and Andrea should be here soon. So they're just getting everything settled. So hopefully they'll be here really quickly. So that's a very different question, Honeybee, because the way we see race in the United States is so different than how other countries see race. Maybe I can really go more in depth in another video about that, but it is not as deep in other countries on a surface level. Like I said, I can go in more depth in another video. But on a surface level, it's not that deep in other countries. So me being Black, period, in Colombia was not a big deal. That was my experience. Maybe other people had other experiences, but me walking around in Bogota, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, there's a Black girl, look at her. It wasn't like that at all. That wasn't my experience. Actually, I got looked at because I was tall. That was probably like, people would stop me and say, oh my gosh, you're tall. Que grandota eres. People would stop me because I'm tall, but I get that in New York. I'm 5'10", so people are gonna just see the tall person coming, they're gonna look at me, But besides that, I didn't get treated differently until I opened my mouth. Now, at the time when I first moved there, I think I spoke okay, but obviously I can't mimic a perfect Colombian accent. So people will ask, where are you from? Because they would expect me to be from Choco, they would expect me to be from Cali, but I did not have that accent. So I think that's when the question started. And when I told them I was American, and sometimes they would guess because of my accent, that's when the conversation changed. And then it would be like, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? Or, what do you do? Or things like that. But it didn't seem like it was something out of the ordinary. it didn't seem like it was like I'm not sure if this is where you're going with your question, but it didn't seem like I was targeted in any way. I think it was just curiosity, like, oh, an American is here. It didn't feel like I was a Black American. It just felt like I was one of them. Then when they realized I wasn't, I was American. It didn't. I don't know if that makes sense. Please let me know in the live chat if that makes any sense. But it didn't seem. I didn't seem too out of place most of the time. Bogota, for me, I had to move from Bogota to Medellin because I just, the vibe in Bogota wasn't for me. You know, I'm used to the big city, so that's why I chose Bogota over any other city. And also, I love the Bogota accent. It's like so perfect. If you're learning and you're super new to Spanish, Bogota, they speak so clear, so amazing. I love their accent. So that's why I chose Bogota. But it's a city that is metropolitan, just like New York. So I felt like I would have been fine. But the vibe was not the vibe I personally liked. And also, everyone is so hustle bustle trying to make ends meet that making friends was a little difficult. And most times I found myself at home after I would work my 2, 3 classes. You know, the people that I did meet and became friends with, they were like, I gotta go to work, you know, or they gotta go to their second job because it's hard. It's hard out there for most people. So if you have a bustling career, you're at work all day. If you have a smaller job, you have 2, 3 jobs. So it was harder to maintain friendships in Bogota. Plus the weather, it was just cold all the time, and it rained all the time. Like when you think of Colombia, you're thinking like hot sunshine and, you can wear your shorts, you can wear your sandals. You're thinking all of these things, but no, Bogota is really cold. So I ended up moving to Medellin. As for being a Black American living in Medellin, it was a similar thing. It didn't seem like I stood out too much, mostly because of my hair, maybe. I wore my afro most of the times, and most of the Black people there I noticed didn't wear their natural hair. So, that was something of attention that caused attention. But I felt like I kind of blended in for the most part. Let's see. I'm looking to move since I can keep my American job. Yeah, you will do great. And keeping your US dollar, you're gonna live amazing. You're going to have a higher quality of life. Over there, I felt like I was rich, for the first time. First time in my life, I felt like I was rich. I could buy steak every week. I was taking taxis everywhere. I felt so bougie, guys. Like, I felt so rich living there. And to tell you, I was making maybe on a slow month, because I did my payouts every month. On a slow month, I made $600 a month. 600 US dollars a month. If I were to make $600 US a month here in New York, guys, I would be in a box asking for money. You know what I'm saying? But over there, I was pretty much upper middle class. And that's to tell you, if you were to make such minimal US dollar in certain countries, you can live a really good life. It's just a matter of being able to consolidate your work into a version where you can either do it online or maybe do it for, like, I know I used to work in a company where we rented cars for Uber drivers. And a lot of the Uber drivers were from other countries. They would work 3 months in New York or New Jersey, make like $10,000, and then go back home for like 3 months. And they would just do that, alternate, or they'll go to another country and just live there for 3 months. When I moved to Colombia, I met Uber drivers in New York that said, yeah, I was doing my Uber 3 months and now I'm here, So it's like there's so many options. It doesn't have to just be online, but it just depends on what fits your lifestyle. Let's see. A lovely rebel, don't mention unless they sponsor. Yes, I am trying to be a better YouTuber in that sense. So yeah, you know what? You're right. Thank you. You also say how easy it is for an American to start their own language institute in Colombia. I wouldn't know per se because I didn't start my own language institute. However, I can presume that it's not so difficult because how people view Americans, even though sometimes people view Americans in a negative light, people on a person to person basis, I would say people view Americans pretty okay, like person to person. Maybe politically not okay, but person to person, I think if you're a cool person, if you're not causing a scene in their country, I think they're going to think you're okay. And if you go to them with a service that they need, I'm pretty sure they would employ you or at least hire you. And I don't think that it would be too difficult to start a business there because if you promote yourself, I'm an American, I'm a teacher, or I have a team of teachers that will help you learn English, I'm sure you will get business because honestly, I interviewed for maybe 3 schools before moving to Colombia, and they were like in proximity to one another in Bogota. So that to me says that there are plenty of schools there. So if they've started a institution, then you could too. Who's to say that you can't? So I would definitely look more into that. But I don't think it would be very difficult, especially if you market yourself as an American or if you have, like I said, a staff of teachers. If you market yourself as an American, I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to really get some good clientele. So I'd say definitely go for that. Jeannie Presley, welcome, welcome. What other jobs do you suggest? Candles, beddings, or something? What suggestions? What do you mean in particular, Jeannie? Like other types of work you could do there? Or like, are you referring to your own business? Because you can do anything. It doesn't have to be teaching English at all. I think that may be the easiest way to get into the country and to be able to stay there a long period of time and to find a job. But it does not have to be just teaching English. You can do anything. You can start your own business, whether it's a brick and mortar in Colombia or something online. It doesn't have to be. I say if you want to get to Colombia fast and you need a job fast, I say teach English. It's the quickest way. You speak English natively, it's fine. But if you really see yourself being there for, I say more than like 3 years, I say invest in starting your own business. Oh, hey, Nibby. Welcome. Look who decided to show up. Thank you. I got to take this out, guys. I got to take his hair out because, woo, quarantine has hit hard. All right. So, Jeannie, so please, if you can expound on your question, I would love to answer. So David says, what were your hobbies in Colombia? Eating. Eating was my hobby in Colombia. I loved eating. I loved trying new dishes, especially when I traveled to new cities. In Medellin, I particularly loved la bandeja paisa, which basically means the paisa tray, which is like a big tray of just so much food. You got chicken, meat, there's pork, but I don't eat pork, so I just kind of move that aside. Then there's vegetables, there's what else? Avocado, aguacate, there's oh my gosh, there's so much on the plate. And if you eat that, you're full for the whole day. So I really loved bandeja paisa. When I went to Cali, I had all the food. I can't even tell you what I ate because I ate everything. So that's one of my hobbies. But in Bogota, I didn't have many hobbies because, like I said, I was kind of cooped up in the house, which is sad because it was just so cold and people were just so busy and it was harder to make friends. That was my experience. Maybe your experience would be different. But in Medellin, I would actually go on hikes. I would meet new people taking some hikes. I would I would just walk around the main area, like the downtown area, just to see different things. I would just do so many things like that. Also online, you can use different apps. There's an app called Meetup where they have all sorts of activities. It doesn't have to just pertain to Spanish, but there were some language exchange groups that I hung out and I met people there. And because I was American, everyone wanted to be my friend because they're like, oh my gosh, I could learn English with you. And I'm like, okay, great, as long as I can learn Spanish. And then also there are other groups. Like I took a photography, not a class, but it was like a photography group. I didn't like that too much, but it was cool because it was something different. I took a dance class. How could I forget? I took salsa lessons. So here's a cool thing and a cool tip for you guys that maybe you've never heard before. But pretty much everywhere in the world uses a barter system except the United States. So I walked into a dance studio because I really, really wanted to learn salsa. And I honestly, guys, that was my plan for the summer. I was gonna do tennis and salsa. I hope I can still do that. But anyway, so I walked into a dance studio and I was still working at the school at the time. This was in Bogota. I was still working at the school at the time, barely had time for myself. And I'm like, I would really love to do salsa, but I don't have the time, nor this specific studio was kind of expensive. So I was just like, when someone is selling you something and you're like, I'm not going to buy it because it's too expensive, but I don't want to just say that. So I'm just going to say, okay. But in my head, I'm like, okay, how can I escape? So I was already thinking that. And so as the instructor, well, he was not an instructor, he was the owner. As he was talking to me, he's like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from New York. And he's like, oh my gosh, I always needed to practice my English and this and that. And I said, well, I'm an English teacher. I teach English here. And he said, tell you what, if you can come here twice a week and have a conversation with me for an hour, I can give you 2 free classes a week for an hour. And I was just like, what? For real? So that's what we did. So an hour before the class, I would talk to him for an hour. And then I would go take a class for an hour. So I was able to get free salsa lessons from just talking. Something I like to do and something I do for free, So that's something you should consider. People tend to not mind a barter system in other countries. In the United States, we don't do that. But in other countries, it's not so bad. So you can offer your English for stuff, not all stuff, but for reasonable stuff. So I was able to get free salsa lessons just having a conversation with the owner of the dance studio. So I thought that was really cool. So you should definitely, maybe suggest that. You never know what you can get. The worst they can say is no, So that was really cool. So that was a hobby that I did. So I did go on hikes, I did salsa classes, and I ate everything. That was really fun. Let's see. Honeybee says, my question is more so around the environment, meeting people, making friends, dating. So like I said, in Bogota, it was a little bit difficult to meet people. As for Medellin, it was so much easier. So much easier to meet people. People were so friendly. It was great. Cali, people were so friendly. Cali has some of the nicest people ever. And Andrea actually lives in Cali right now. So he'll tell you, Cali is amazing. I cannot believe how sweet those people are. And if you have a chance to go to Cali during Christmas time, please do. But if you're going to go, get your salsa right because everybody's going to be grabbing you, dancing salsa with you. So get your salsa right if you're going to go to Cali during Christmas time because Cali is the salsa capital of Colombia. So make sure you know how to do a little bit of salsa. But it was just so amazing. Great place to meet people. Great place to have friends. I would suggest if you're going to Cali, please, please, please go with somebody who knows Cali. I love Cali, but even people in Cali will tell you there are a lot of dangerous places. So please, if you can find someone who's from there or someone who has family there, it will be beneficial to you, because in Bogota, you can just walk around. It's fine. Like, no one's really going to bother you. But Cali has a lot of like hidden dangerous areas that only the locals really know. So please just go with someone who knows the area. I met a friend in Bogota. Her family's from Cali, so she invited me to her home, and I was there for 2 weeks, 2 weeks in Cali during Christmas time. So I felt safe. She would tell me like, okay, we're not gonna go there, we're gonna go here, and it was great. So I would recommend that. Cartagena, Cartagena is like to me, it's like a party city. Like, all there is to do is party. So if you're looking to like party and like go to the beach and, take a little boat ride, Cartagena is where you want to go. But meeting people is not hard. Bogota was more difficult, but it's not hard at all. Making friends, like I said, it's easy to make friends because it's easy to meet people in Medellin, in Cali, in Cartagena. Dating, well, it depends on who you ask. If you're a woman, it's not hard to date. Yeah, because people in the Latin culture, if they like you, they're gonna come up to you and tell you. It's not a big secret, and they're not hiding anything. But if you're a man, I don't know, because you guys' end is different from mine, so I don't know. But dating is not hard. It's not hard to find someone that you like, or for someone to like you, because Colombia is a very diverse place. You'll see so many different types of people. Hi, Andre and Andrea. Come on in. Come on in. It's not a monolith. There are so many different types of people. You have Black people, you have white people, you have mestizo people, and all the mixtures of all of those, So it's not, you have indigenous people. So it's not really like that. So you're gonna find your type, and you're gonna be somebody's type. So it's not a big deal. Okay, let's see. I'm going to message you, Andre. Check your email, Andre, and then you can enter the live. So awesome. Yeah, so let's see. Any more questions, guys? Let's see. How long, okay, J-Rod says, how long was the process for you to move, to gather all of your belongings and leave? Oh, that's a good question. So, J-Rod, I didn't bring a lot of stuff. If you guys see my video of me moving to Colombia, everything I had in that scene of me like leaving is all I had. I didn't bring a lot of stuff. I knew that I was not gonna take everything with me. So I may have brought like 3 months worth of clothes and some shoes. I brought more hair products than clothes. I'll just say that, because you never know. As a Black woman, you never really know when you're moving to a country you've never visited prior. You don't know what's going to happen. So I would say prioritize the hair products than the clothes, because I bought clothes when I was there. And then what I ended up doing, I stayed in an Airbnb at first. And then in Bogota, I stayed there and I lived there. And then I moved to Medellin and I did the same thing. So I didn't need furniture. I didn't need anything. And guys, the exchange rate in US is beneficial to the Americans, or if you're from Europe, the Europeans. It's beneficial. So if you don't want to for me, I didn't want to buy furniture because I knew eventually I would come back to New York. So to me, I didn't want to spend money on furniture and then have to like sell it or anything like that. So I just, rented out at Airbnb, and the owner, like I said, bartering system. I told the owner, hey, I'll pay you cash if we can come up with a system on how we can do this rent thing. And she was more than happy to come up with a system that benefited both of us. So I got a little deal. She was able to get cash in hand. So if you, just use your smarts. I know we're used to doing things a certain way in the United States, but if you become more personable in these countries, they're willing to help you out. especially if it benefits them, So just be smart, think about how can we both benefit from this situation. If you pay through certain apps like Airbnb or whatever, they're taking a percentage out. Obviously book through them first. Book through them first, make sure the place is what it is, make sure the host is who they are and everything. Once everything checks out and you want to stay there, just talk to the landlord or the owner and say, hey, like, I can give you cash if you give me a deal. And they'll, most times, I've done it twice in Medellin, in Bogota, Medellin, and it worked out. So you'll be fine. So I didn't buy any furniture or anything. I just brought clothes with me and lots of hair products. Lots of hair products. Let's see. Any more questions, guys? I'm waiting on Andre and Andrea. They said a few more minutes. Let's see. How long was the process? Well, for the interview process with the school, I'd say it took about 3 months before me like actually moving. But that was because one, I had a job in New York. So it was hard to like, and then no, there wasn't a time difference there. No, it wasn't a time difference, but it was because I had to work. I had to work so long hours, which is another reason why I needed to move out of America for a good while. The work life in the US, especially New York, is such a hassle versus working from home and being able to sustain yourself without working so hard. Like it was night and day, rushing to the subway and running to work, dealing with, customers that screamed in your face and just dealing with all of these stresses of everyday life. And then moving to Colombia where I made in US dollar, I made much less, but in quality of life, I made so much more. And I only had to work 2-3 hours a day if I wanted to. And I could wake up late if I want to. I can decide I'm going to go for a hike today. I can do whatever I want. I got to choose how I did my life. It was such night and day experience. And honestly, I needed that time because I was going through so much. I was getting panic attacks because I was working so much in New York. I was just so stressed. It was just too much. I needed to just relax, which is another reason why I quit working at the Institute because I was there all day and I'm like, what? I worked all day in New York. If I wanted to work all day, I'd stay in New York, So that definitely was needed. But if you want to change the pace of your life, if you want to change something about yourself, maybe not just learning Spanish, but if you want to just change who you are, but in a positive way, or really get to know who you are, you got to move to another country. At least stay for like a month. You can learn so much about yourself that you've never realized before. When you have to depend on yourself in a different kind of way, it is there's something so amazing about it. And it's scary at first, but when you like reading a map, if you can get through reading a map in another country, something so small as finding the place that you live or finding your destination, you feel so happy. You feel so accomplished. It's like, oh my gosh, I did it. And especially if you're learning a new language while you're there, oh my gosh, it is crazy. So I say everyone should at least experience it once in their life. I was able to experience it twice, and I'm so, so happy and so blessed to have done that. So please consider it when life gets better again. Let's see. Any more questions? So Lovely Rebel says, I think Black American hairstylists or salon owners would make a killing, but the rates would have to be low. That's a good point, Lovely Rebel. It really depends. It really depends. Now, I think it's pretty similar. I think Black women are pretty similar in that regard. We will invest good money to make sure our hair looks good. Now, that would look differently in different countries in the sense of because money is different within the US and within Colombia. But I still think Black American hairstylists would do really well. But remember, even though the rates would be low, cost of living is lower. So they can still probably live a really great quality of life when they're there. So you can look into that. That would be really good. Let's see. Val. Hi Val. Welcome. Says, I love your videos. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. I learn a lot of Colombia. I was trying to go to Colombia, but I can't because of the virus situation. I was planning to go to Cali and Medellin. That's great. I love Cali, love Medellin. Well, once everything clears up, I say go for it. Definitely go for it. Are you planning on moving there or are you going to like for vacation or something like that? Either one is fine. But I think you would really, really love to stay there for a good amount of time. Let's see. Misty Reds. Hello, Chanelle. Greetings from Trinidad. Hey! I'm Allie. I looked at some of your videos. Did you do a video on hair products you use on your natural hair in Colombia? I actually never did a video about it. I had a few questions about it, so I can definitely talk about it now. The hair product situation is very minimal. Like, at least in Bogota, they didn't have much black hair products. So I do suggest to bring your own, bring like a lot. I personally usually use shea butter, coconut oil. You can find coconut oil because you can go to the grocery store and find it. And you probably get better quality in Colombia too. But I brought, the big tubs of shea butter. I probably brought like 2 of those. One of those lasts me about a year, so I brought 2 just in case. And with shampoo, I don't use shampoo. I do the co-wash. That's how I wash my hair. So I typically just bought their popular brands and just use the conditioner for my own hair. So that worked for me. But shea butter was the thing that I brought with me. I didn't find any black hair products in Bogota. I looked high and low. I didn't find anything. However, in Cali, it's predominantly black people there. And if you go to the downtown area of Cali, you will see the shops. They have wigs, they got weaves, they got shea butter, they have all sorts of products that we are accustomed to, and then also that are popular in their country as well for black hair. I never used their products because I had so much shea butter, but a lot of their products had acetyl alcohol and sulfates. So I personally would not use it. Maybe now they have better ingredients, but a lot of the products had the drying agents, and I try not to, use those. So, like I said, bring your own. If your hair regimen is pretty simple, like mine is pretty simple. Like I said, I use shea butter, coconut oil, or you could use olive oil. With the oils, you can buy that there. But the shea butter, if you're not in Cali, you may not be able to really get shea butter. I think that's Andre. You may not be able to get shea butter. And in Cali, I saw the little ones. I didn't see like the big ones. So I would recommend bring your own. Let's see. Honeybee says, how long did it take you to become fluent in Spanish? I'm on my Spanish learning journey. Ooh, that's a big question. How long? Well, if you guys take a look at my videos, you can see my timeline. My first video I've ever uploaded on YouTube was my last week in New York, and I was moving to Spain. So from there, you can see my progress from leaving New York and moving into Spain and how I was able to really grow in my Spanish learning. From that moment, I had already been studying Spanish for, I'd say 6 to 9 months. I had already been studying Spanish seriously. Like before I was like sporadically studying, but I was consistently studying Spanish 6 to 9 months prior to moving to Spain. So that's the progress that you saw in that video. So if you haven't seen it already, please check it out. The editing is awful, guys. It was my first time editing, but I want to keep it there because it shows my progress. So if you check my first video out, maybe I'll probably link it below or link it in the cards after this goes on YouTube. You'll see that's where it like I count it from that point. Now within Spain, you can see just 1 month, just 1 month of living there, I was having conversations. Prior to that, after doing like my self study, I started working with Ambi. I hope Ambi comes back on. If you're watching, hi Ambi. I started doing the tutoring with Ambi after about 5 months of rigorous self study, and having conversations with her. It was a safe environment because I could make mistakes and I didn't feel super pressured. But my speaking was very slow, but at that time it's fine, you know. However, the actual progress started happening in Spain. I'm talking the first month, and I'll tell you, because at that time, that's when Amber and I started becoming like real friends, and we just like our relationship just got really good. And I would call her and I would just say, "Girl, what am I doing here? I don't understand anybody. Everybody talking fast." And I would be crying. Like, I'll be on WhatsApp, like, "Girl, why am I here? I don't understand anybody." And she's like, "It's okay. It's okay. Just give it the month. The first month is always the hardest." And I'm like, "Nah, you don't understand. I don't understand anybody. They keep talking to me." And I'm like, "Okay." I wish I had recorded those moments, but y'all don't understand. Like, well, actually, you probably do understand, but like, it was so hard. Like, and thinking about it now, it seems so trivial. Like, why are you crying because you don't understand anybody? But it was painful because you plucked yourself out of a situation where you know everything was going on. You know everything. And now you're in an environment where you know nothing. You don't know people, you don't know places, and you don't know what they're saying to you. So it was crazy. And prior to that, I had been traveling my whole life. You know, I've been traveling since practically a newborn. So it wasn't the fact of being in a new area, but it was just a different experience. I had never lived in a place where I didn't understand what people were saying to me. So that was so new. So after that first month, guys, I'd say that's when progress started happening. There's a video, I can't remember the name. I'll try to put all the links below after this after it processes to YouTube. But there's a video, I believe it's like Black girls speaking Spanish in Spain or something like that. And there's a part where I'm speaking to somebody, I believe he was from Cuba, and he moved to Spain when he was like 14 or something. And we're having a conversation. And guys, I think that was the first time I had a long conversation in Spanish. And I was so proud. After we like stopped recording, I took a deep breath and I was just like, did I do that? And I'm so happy I got that on camera. Maybe to you guys it's small, but to me it was huge because he is a native speaker. And the person who was holding the camera was highly proficient in Spanish. She's Croatian. She was holding the camera, and her level is through the roof. She speaks amazing. And here I am keeping up with a native speaker and a C1 speaker. She's probably C2 now. Here I am keeping up with them. Me, at that time, I was probably B1, if B1, maybe A2. And here I am keeping up with them after 1 month. Bruh, that's progress. I'm talking about talking like, "Hola, me llamo Chanelle." I'm talking from that to like, "Hola, cómo están?" Like, I'm in 1 month. And that's the power of immersion. You can mimic that in your own home. It doesn't have to be you moving to another country. But I think it's more fun if you move to another country. But that is the power of immersion. After 1 month, I'm telling you, You will see a difference. But that month will be the hardest month of your life. I guarantee it. Hardest month of your life. If you had only been studying for less than a year, yeah, hardest month of your life. So that's a long way of saying that my fluency has only begun that, like, the beginning mark is from there in 2016. I'd say by the time I left Colombia, I felt as though I was fluent. Now, between Spain and Colombia, I had a year of being in the United States. In that year, I studied like crazy. I think I only listened to salsa and reggaeton, honestly. Like, that's why I don't know a lot of music today, because that time I just listened to salsa, reggaeton, bachata. Like, I listened to only those genres because I said, okay, I'm back in New York. I need to make sure my Spanish is good. So when I moved to Colombia, I'm good. By the time I left Colombia 2 years ago, I was good. So I'd say combination of Spain and Colombia, if you were to just move to that country while studying, this is not to negate studying, because when I was in Spain and when I was in Colombia, I was still studying. While studying, you can get fluent within a year. If you're an English speaker to learning Spanish. Andre is coming in now. So I'm just finishing up a point about hi.
Hey,
How are you guys?
we are great.
We're great.
Woo! So glad you guys are here. Andrea, you're so beautiful. Look at you.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
thought she was about to say, Andre, you're so beautiful.
Well, you're beautiful too. You're
In
beautiful.
my own way.
Yeah.
I was just telling the viewers about Colombia, my experience in Colombia, and
Right.
somebody was asking about how long it took me to become fluent in Spanish. So I was giving them the rundown. I spent 3 months in Spain and then a year in Colombia, and I believe now that I'm fluent. So I'm giving you guys hope. You can reach fluency, and you don't have to move to the country, but I think it's more fun if you do.
That's the fun of it.
So I have been talking for an hour. So it's time for you guys to talk. It's time for you guys to take over the show. Please introduce yourselves, please.
All right. My name is Andre,
My name is Sandra.
and we are Love Crossing Borders.
You guys are too cute. Stop it. Too cute. So I'm so happy you guys are here. It is so amazing. I know the circumstances suck, but I'm so glad that we're able to have this interview because you guys are so inspirational. I don't know if any of my viewers are subscribed to you, but after watching some of your videos, I was like, what? This is the power of YouTube, guys. Yes. If you guys don't know, this is, and you'll learn shortly that this is the power of YouTube. You can do anything you want. You can learn anything you want, whether it's Spanish, whether it's how to upgrade your life, whether it's to how to get a beautiful wife like Andrea. You can upgrade your life using other people's experiences through YouTube. So guys, if you have questions for Andrea and Andrea, please put them in the chat so we can address them. So without further ado, please introduce yourselves. Tell us who you are and what do you do?
All right. As you guys know, who have followed us over the last year of Love Crossing Borders, we're interracial, international, intergenerational couple.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, they said generation is on average 40 years separation. We're not 40 years, but we have a time span of separation where, you know, she's more how can I put it? She's more puffy and more that, you know, Nelly, and I'm more Run DMC.
Oh wow! Sorry.
To Pac era. Yeah. We always tell our age. Everybody knows our age. I'm 52.
I'm 25.
Wow,
so, yeah.
You do not look 52. That's good.
Yeah, but
yeah, thank you.
And she doesn't act 25. I'm a
Is
young.
that shade? Is that shade you are throwing?
No. It's a good thing. It's actually
Okay.
one of the benefits that we talk about with our relationship. If you're going to date somebody older, make
Yeah.
sure that person has a mature soul. Andrea is naturally an old soul by nature, and so that's one of the things that's so attractive about her is that I never have to worry about because her body says one age, her
Mhm.
maturity and how she carries herself as a lady is completely always blows me away.
Mhm.
Good. I've noticed with lots of Colombian women, the maturity level is much higher than a lot of American women. That's something that I've noticed, just my experience. I've met women there my age who had careers already. And I was just getting mine started by the time I, met them. So I was like, wow, how do you already, one of my really great friends, she lives in Bogota, she's a caleña. She she's about 30 now. She's been 4 years an attorney. I'm like, how is this even life when I'm just gonna hop around the world. I'm just gonna, see what I'm just playing around in different countries. And she's like 4 years into her career. So I think that can be also cultural, but I'm pretty sure Andrea is just a mature woman in and of herself, you know.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
true.
So
That's true.
please.
I think it's because in Colombia or in Latin culture we have been raised like you done with college, then you need to jump to. Oh no, sorry. You done with your high school. You need to decide. You already know what career you're going to pick, and then going to college. Like no, don't waste your time. Don't take a year to little break. No, going to college, then you finish college. In that time you have been working. Then you're going to have another continue study and still working. So we always like don't waste your time
Hmm.
because time is running. Like we have
Yeah.
been like raised like if you are 30 and you don't have any career, you're not married, you don't have any kids, so you're not doing nothing with your life. That we have been raised in
Hmm.
that culture. Yeah.
The
And
other thing is, I'm sorry,
no, go
Chanelle.
for it. Sorry about that.
The other thing is that which I didn't know, they don't have a 12th grade in Colombia. Just like in Cuba, they don't have anything after the ninth grade. In Cuba, you start after ninth grade, you go directly to college. So
Mm.
it's the same thing with Colombia. Colombia doesn't have a 12th grade. So now you've got these people that are in college, some at 17, some at even as you can be as young as 16, depending on their birthday. So
Hmm.
when we're still muddling around talking about a prom, these are college sophomores.
Yeah, you're right. And also I can imagine that there's a fault in having too many opportunities in the United States.
So,
And I know that sounds strange, but if you know you're going to be fine, you tend to, okay, I'll just make that decision later. I'll decide what I'm going to do in my career later. But for now, I'm just going to have fun. And you'll see 23, 24-year-olds out partying. And I'm not saying that's bad because I did it, but there
yeah,
is a difference because when I was out in Colombia, the people who were out partying were 17, 18, but like I said, like my friend, she had been 4 years in her career as an attorney
mhm,
already, so a
yeah,
woman. And so it's like, oh, okay. It's such a different thing. And then also I think family has something to do with it. Typical American culture, not my experience, but typical American culture is, okay, honey, just do what you like, do what your heart feels like. But in other countries, like in my mom's culture, it's if you want to eat, you gotta go to school and you gotta get
That's
your
true.
degree. What are you doing? So I'm sure that has something to do with it too. Like you need economic opportunities in order to survive in some countries, in some cities. So I'm sure that plays a part.
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
other thing that Andre probably can attest to, and you can attest to as well as Chanel, is that Colombia is a young uh, country when it comes to careers and opportunity. If you just stand outside in the morning, you don't see people that are 50, 55, 60,
Yeah.
65. always going to the offices and always going to, you don't see them on the 9 to 5 rent. You may see them going to a job, but you don't see them being appreciated. Like in the States, you can be in sales and you can be 53, 54 and still making 6 figures. Here in Colombia, you don't see that older age unless they own something or unless they've been with that company for a long time. So Colombia is a very young energy type of, almost like Seattle-ish, that young, what other area Colombia reminds me of? Portland. You know, that young up and coming mindset. That's what Colombia. You just stand out there in the morning and it's just young people going to work, going here, going there, hustle bustle. So it lets you know while you're young, take care of what you need to take care of. Am I correct?
That's true.
I agree. You have to. And there are ways that you can take care of what you need to take care of and still have fun. Like for me, I never got my college degree. So the way I saw myself pushing into my career was learning languages. That was my foot through the door. So I said, okay, how am I going to study Spanish but still enjoy my 20s? So I decided to move to different countries, and I was able to have fun and still learn. And I think that's a great way to get best of both worlds. And I see you are living best of both worlds, Andre. So I would love for you to tell me, how did your journey to Colombia and eventually finding the beautiful Andrea, how did that journey begin? Where were you a few years ago at this time?
I was actually, it's kind of funny that we're talking about college because I was a college recruiter all the way up until the time I moved here. And so for almost 15, 20 years for different schools across the country. And sitting up, I've just given a tour of the college. I'm sitting at my desk again. I'm making about 80,000, so I'm doing good. I've got the convertible. I'm living in the nice house in Tampa. I've got what Americans would consider the American dream. I'm really living the life. I was always a traveler. I've always been outside the country, traveling here, traveling there. So it was not a problem with the fact that I hadn't traveled. But I started to realize that this cubicle life is not me. And like I tell people, I'm a verb, not a noun.
Yes.
I'm not a sit down, sit still type of personality. I'm an action word. I'm trying to be a preposition. I'm trying to be at, through, near, around, over, under. You see what I'm saying? I'm a verb trying to become a preposition one day.
As an English teacher, this is so funny to me. I'm such a nerd.
Right. And so when I started to realize those things, and I was telling somebody on the live stream that I did this morning that once I did that, I'm done. I didn't just rush out of my jobs and said I quit. I'm loading up the truck and I moved to Beverly. I didn't do that, right? I began to put together a 3-year plan. Okay, Andre, you got a 3-year plan. You know you want to live out of the United States. Where you going to live? Hadn't been to Colombia yet or anything. Been to other places. And one of my closest friends at work was Colombian. And she said, Andre, you really need to go to my home country. It's this and it's that and it's that and it's this. So during that time period, started doing my homework and finally reached out to a few YouTubers. And then I'm actually kind of funny. When I was in the middle of that transition, I came across these 2 young ladies in Cali, Colombia, one named Amber and one named Chanelle. And I just gorged on their videos. And it was so encouraging, not only to just see sisters out there, but to see Americans out there. And that's the one thing that I did take away from you guys. I didn't look at you as Black women traveling. I just looked at you as women traveling. And I remember you said, hey, I remember you and Chanelle said it in one of your videos. You said that we're here establishing businesses. We're not here just on a party and fun and just out and about. We're establishing businesses and a brand. And it stuck with me on that. And I was like, you can go outside the country and establish businesses and a brand?
100%.
And so I started doing my homework after you guys said that, and that stuck with me. And so I continued to just establish myself. And so I met This Is Ace Live. Shout out to This Is Ace Live. All I did was, and this is just a tip for some of you guys, I reached out to this YouTuber who just so happened to be in Medellin. And I put in this comment section, hey, I'll be coming to Colombia, and at that time period, Ace is only at 200 subscribers. Now he's at 50. He's at 50,000
messages.
Right. And so in the comment section, that's what I did. Yeah, we're gonna flood your comment section. And so I reached out, and he said, "Guy, when you get here," and so he showed me around Medellin. So I went to Medellin a couple of times, and then I'd always been a salsa music fanatic. I love the sound. And so I knew that Cali was the capital of salsa in the world. And so I was like, okay, next trip I'm going to Medellin. I'm going to split it up with a little bit of Cali. And so when I came to Cali, I met this beautiful lady in Chippy Chape Mall and approached her in all her loveliness and splendor. And so she showed, the one gift that she gave me was somebody that even if we hadn't dated, even if we hadn't gotten to know each other, even if we hadn't exchanged numbers, she showed me a history of Cali. She gave me a tour of Cali that if I was one of those guys that were just going after her for her looks or her body, I would have missed out on. And that's just a heads up that I give a lot of guys, and that we give a lot of guys on our channel. If the woman that you're meeting, if the universe is bringing you guys together, it may not be for the reason that you're thinking about. It might be for another reason. So we started off as friends.
Oh my gosh, that's like so rare nowadays. That's amazing. And actually just a few minutes ago, someone was asking about like the guy's side of it, because I could only talk about the woman's side. You know, I was just saying Cali especially, but Colombia as a whole is so diverse. So you're gonna have your type somewhere in Colombia, and you are somebody's type. So people were saying, are they gonna like me? Are they gonna like me as an American or as a Black person? Yes, you know, that's not the issue at hand. I think, and then for the men's side, I didn't know how to answer that question, but I think that is really great advice. You should just get to know the person as a person and be their friend, because it is super awkward when a guy really likes you and they're just like, I like you, let's be together. And you're just like, I don't even know you. I don't even know if I like you. Like we have to, we have to be right, like cool, because I need to get to know you at a normal pace. And if you're only there for 2 weeks, what's going to be too rushed, you know? And I'm sure some of your clients may not end up moving there. They may be there for a month or for a few weeks. So if their intent is to meet and find love, I would say from a woman's point of view, don't rush it, because Colombia is always going to be there. You know, you can always come back. You don't have to just say it has to happen in these 2 weeks. If it's meant to be, it will be meant to be, no matter how far you are away, you know. But from a woman's point of view, don't rush, just relax, you know, get to know me. Let me get to know you. So you're laughing, Andrea. So how was it meeting Andre at that time? I'm so curious. How was it?
I'm gone.
Okay. Yeah, we met in Chipichape Mall. Like Andrew said, we went to a couple of spots, you know, to Cali Burger, and then we start talking by WhatsApp on WhatsApp, and we start talking, and then that was happened in July, right? The first time that you came here. So then he back in September, and we start officially dating. And we went to the coffee region in Colombia, which is, we love the coffee region. Armenia, El Quindío. So then he back to the States, and then he come back in November, if I'm not mistaken, in November, and we took a trip to Cartagena. Then he met my parents.
Andre, yeah, good move.
Yeah. So he met my parents, and that time we were looking. Andrew was looking for apartment, and we didn't. In that moment we didn't decide to live together, right? So
that's right.
So we were looking for apartment, and then Andre, that will happen in September. So I'm going to move the date. It happened in September, and Andre say, you know what? Why don't we just live together? But before that, I told him, I will live with someone, and knowing that we're not getting married in the future, right? So yeah.
I felt the same way though.
Good. That's good.
If you're not
Yeah.
gonna, if you have no long term,
Right.
and we realize statistically only 20% of Colombians people in Colombia get married. We knew that.
Mhm.
That's why Colombia only has a 9% divorce rate, because it ain't that many people married
I
anyway.
was like, the thing is that
Colombia,
I don't understand. And Andrea, please tell me, why do people move in together and then they're like, oh, that's my husband, that's my wife? And I'm like, wait, y'all never got married, but is it like a cultural thing?
Yeah, we know. Yeah, you know why? You know why? Because before, like for example, my parents' age in the '90s, they got married in the '90s. It was something that you need to do
Like
for
officially.
in that time. Yeah, in that time, you cannot live with your boyfriend. Like, let's live together. No, you need to get married because that is the correct thing to do. But now, nowadays, people just like living together for years, and she is my wife, or he is my husband, and it's like being married, because legally it's like being married. Of course, after in Colombia, after 2 years living with someone, they're
Oh.
already married without signing the contract.
right?
But in my head, in how I was raised, we're like, no, I want to get married. I can't live with someone for more than 1 year, and knowing that we're never gonna get married. No, that not work for me. I mean, some people, some couple like to do it in that way, not getting married is cool, but for my case, no.
I
And I'm the
totally
same way.
agree. That's amazing. And I think a lot of women need to realize that you are an anomaly, Andre. A lot of men wouldn't care. They're like, okay, let's do it. And like Quinto Fox said, common law marriage. So it depends on each state, but I
Mr.
believe,
Fox, shout out.
yeah, in New York, I believe it's 10 years. I think, I don't know if it's changed, but around 10 years of living in the same house, then you have the privileges.
Wow.
That's a lot. If you're gonna be in a house together for 10 years, why not just make it official?
Somebody told me in Costa Rica it's 6 months. If you live together 6 months, it's common law. Yours is mine, and mine is yours in Costa Rica.
No, here's after 2 years.
But even 2 years is such a short time, and I think that's because the culture is so embedded into law. If you look at each country's law, you'll see where the culture lies. Law usually reflects the culture, and I think, and that's something that always like baffled me. I'm like, you guys, you're not actually married, but you're calling each other husband and wife. But I do think that is important for most women, and some men don't really care. So I think it's important as a woman, whether you're from Colombia or you're from the States, I think you should make it either this is a deadline or this is how it's gonna be.
Right.
And if that man loves you, I think he'll follow suit.
I tell all my male friends this, Chanelle, and I tell my lady friends that, because they always call in here. It's amazing how many my female friends still call me. Andrea, I got problems. I'm like, I'm in another continent, but they still my girls. Shout out. And so, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
That is true. Happy Mother's Day.
And but one thing I say, there's only two reasons every man is with a woman, no matter what country, continent. He can be pastor, he can be a prophet or priest. Doesn't matter who he is. Two reasons why a man is with a woman: because A, he wants her in his life. That's the first reason. Whether it be girlfriend, whether it be a friend, whether it be a wife, he wants her. Second reason why a lot of men are with a woman: because I do not want the next man to have you. I will stay in a bad relationship before I dare let Kevin down the street take you on a date. I'll ride this out for the next 4 years. I don't like you, you don't like me. But at the end of the day, I bet you ain't dating him. And so a lot of guys make that mistake of realizing that they're putting their own lives on hold, where they don't allow the woman, if you're not truly vested in her for the long haul, letting that woman go. So a lot of times women are in relationships, she knows it's not working out. He knows it's not working out. She's preparing for the exodus. He acts like, what do you mean it's over? Because he knew he was only holding on to keep you away from the next guy, not to keep you as his main person.
So,
And so, yeah, us men, yeah, we're some selfish dudes. We can't be like that at times.
And that's not love. That's not love. That's even if you love someone, you want the best for them, even if it's not you.
Correct.
You know, but that's crazy. And then my mom says in Trinidad and Tobago, after 5 years, you're considered common law husband and wife. So
wow.
it's it seems like the United States has the longest time, but has the highest divorce rate. So something's going on here. So I would love to talk about the differences. So Andrea, I can start with you. I'm sure you've dated Colombian men prior to meeting Andre. What are some of the differences in dating an American man versus dating Colombian men?
I think, well, you see my face. I think in Colombia, most of the guys, they're kind of spoiled. They're kind of spoiled when it becomes to live with a woman. I'm just saying, most of the guys, or not put all the guys in the basket, like I always say, because some guys, they're super mature, they're independent. Some of them, they still live with their mamas or the family, but still independent, right? When it comes to with a woman, okay, cool. We do 50-50, like cleaning house, activities, all of that. But some dudes in Colombia, they're still a mama's boys. They're still like, I want to get married, or no, no. I want to live with someone, with my girlfriend, because I don't do anything for my life. And when I say this, is I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to run a house, like wishes, laundry. I need your uniform for work. So that is the stuff that is so irritating for me when it comes to Latin Jews, when it comes to Colombian Jews. Yeah, because most of the guys are like that. They need a wife, but because they doesn't know do anything in own, because they were so spoiled in the house. So they never have that mentality how to collaborate or how to help in and have to, oh my god,
yeah, right. You're doing good.
Yeah, I can orders. So yeah, that's one of the things. So when it comes to guys from the States, I can say America, because American is the whole continent, but guys from the States, I think they're more independent. Like Andrew said to me, when you are 18, you need to leave your house. Which in Colombia, it's not like that. In Colombia, you still live with your parents because you can afford a place for yourself, because you need to go to college, you need to work, and the money that you make for work, you can rent an apartment. It's a whole thing when it comes to financials. So it's different compared to the States. So that was maybe the reason that it's like a big difference, because in the States, I think the guys are more independent, are more like free when it comes to live alone, when it comes to job. In Colombia, we take so long to leave mommy's house, and that's true. That's true. I mean, it's nothing wrong, but it takes time.
And also the culture is a bit different. I think Colombian families are more close knit than a typical American family. Obviously, there are American families that are close, and I'm sure there's some Colombian families that are not. But I think for the most part, there is a cultural weight to family heavier in Colombia than in the United States. And I'm sure that also has something to do with it, because if you are 21 and you're still living with your parents, it's not looked as you're a loser. It's not looked as you failed life. It's just a way of life there. Versus in the United States, 21 and you're still living with your parents, like, you gotta get out of there. That's not food. So that could also have something to do with why maybe some of the men are like, I don't want to clean the house because their mom has been cleaning the house for almost 30 years at this point. So it could be something that they expect. What were some of the things that you both had to deal with because of the difference in culture?
I would have to say, for my part, it was, of course, it was. Sometimes it's communication of traditions. Like traditions, she'll have to tell me, well, you're not in North America, you were in South America. Because traditionally, I'll say that I'll give you a perfect example. Traditionally, Black people talk loud, and our apartment has vaulted ceilings, so sound with my voice bounce off the wall. So a lot of times, guys don't see this on the live stream. A lot of times on the live stream, Andrea is like this. And she's smiling into the camera, but she's doing this to bring it down. And so I've learned, even though I'm loud now, I've learned to kind of like bring the tone of my voice down, because you could have a group of Colombians and they're not the loudest people that you see unless it's drink in hand, and some music going. Oh, they're the loudest ones you're gonna meet.
Or like they won the soccer team or something.
Of course.
Yeah.
but yes. Go Cali.
America, Cali.
That's right.
Cali is different.
Cali is different, especially during Christmas time. Oh my God.
Yeah.
If I could just live in Cali for those 2 weeks of Christmas time forever, I would be the happiest person ever. Like, La Feria is life.
Yes, it is. That's another thing that's different that you brought up. Christmas. Colombians celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve, so everybody gets together and share the gifts right around. They start the dinner in the late evenings, and the kids are up, and everybody's having fun. And then later in the evening, everybody gives out the gifts.
So
I know, right?
Yeah, it's so funny because when I explained this to Andre like almost 2 years ago, and he say, "Yeah, we're gonna do 25th," I was like, just getting ready to go to La Feria. Like, well, what about the gifts and all of that? Like, no, we already did that 24 at the middle of the night. We celebrated 24, not 25th. And we're not like you guys.
Right. So
you guys.
I know, right? So those are some of the, and it made sense because on the 20th, I would rather give out the gifts on the 24th if I know I'm going to the salsa festival on the 25th.
That's the gift right there. La Feria is the gift.
Right. And so we've gone every year since we've taken photos, we've done videos. Since like last year, we did video footage and uploaded a few videos in regards to the event. We love doing photo shoots. She loves modeling. I love photography. So that's another great bond between us.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are some things that the other thing that I noticed going back to what you guys were saying, what a person sees in someone. It's kind of funny what Andrea will always tell the story of. It wasn't the fact that I got up every morning, I had suits on when we were doing WhatsApp video chats. None of that was impressive. It wasn't my car, wasn't impressing her. He's getting into his convertible and he's riding off to his job. It wasn't my office, none of that. What made Andrea tells the story of what made her kind of like click and take notice of me is she saw me cooking.
Really?
And cleaning, yeah.
Cooking and cleaning. And my place is really clean, so.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's so, like, you have to, like, women in the United States, it's like, if you don't cook, it's not a big deal. But most guys, at least my age, they have to know how to cook because they live on their own.
Right.
So it's like, that's so funny that was the thing that made you like say, I should pay attention to this guy. Which is so like minimal for me. Like my boyfriend is always cooking for me and I'm like, thanks baby. Like, it's like so normal. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, in Latin culture, it's a big thing for us as a woman. It's always the thing like you need to know how to cook. And grandmas and moms say you need to know how to cook to be a good cooker for your husband. And for me, it's like, no, you have a real big mistake. I need to learn how to cook because I'm gonna live by myself, and that's what I did. I lived by myself when I was 22, so I just do all my meals. So yeah, and it's not like you need to learn this because you need to be a good wife. That for me, that's not correct, because sometimes girls, I don't want to even get married, I don't want to have kids, and you respect that. You need to respect that. But moms and grandma always said you need to be this because you need to be a good wife. If you don't do this, you are a bad wife. So that is a kind of disagreement that I have with my granny personally, because she always been like that when she was married.
Tradition.
Exactly. But for me, it's like, no, 50-50. He knows how to cook. I know how to cook. So, and we share when it comes about our apartment and all of that. But no, that we have been, it's another thing that we have been raised in
Yeah.
that culture. That you need to do this, and that, and in laundry, your husband, how do you say?
Iron his clothes.
No, baby, your underwear.
Oh, wash your
I
underwear.
was like, I won't touch my husband. I was, what?
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Where's the love?
no, what love?
The love is in the washing machine. Better throw that in there.
No.
Oh
Boom.
my gosh, we are in the 21st century.
Thank you. Believe me, one of the
Exactly.
things, one of the things that Andrea and I emphasized doing when we were looking for an apartment, gotta have a washer, gotta have a dryer. I'm
Oh.
like, that's another cultural thing. I was like, if I was visiting here, cool.
Yeah.
Don't have to have a dryer. It's no big deal. But since I'm living here, one of the things I kept saying, I said, I'm from the United States. I gotta have a washer and a dryer unit.
These are non-negotiables.
Right. And so we actually were going to buy a dryer because we knew a lot of places had washers, but we we're going to buy a dryer. And then fortunately, we found a place, and we're like 5 minutes from Chippy Chape now. Crazy,
Hey.
right? And so, we found a great place, new building, and they installed a washer and dryer units in here. So we didn't have to spend money on washer and dryer units,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
which, as you know, is rare in Cali.
yes, I was gonna say, like, some people don't even have air conditioning, so it's very, it's very like prestigious to have these things. I'm a little less bougie. I want the washing machine, but I don't mind putting the clothes out to dry. It keeps the clothes soft, keeps the color better. But hand washing, no thanks. In New York, I have to go to the laundromat. Like, that sucks. So you think I'm gonna hand wash my clothes? No way. So that is something that some of you guys who are watching at home, you guys have to consider. Like, there are some differences in life, quality of life, and also even if you bring your American customs to the country, people are gonna look at you like, what? You have an air conditioner? Like, they're gonna look at you a little different because it's not the norm. Now, tell me about your guys' business. I know you guys have a business, a very successful business there. Please share that. And also, how did you get started with that? A lot of my viewers have been asking, is teaching English the only way to make money in Colombia? What are some of
Yes,
the
it
things
is.
you've been doing?
That's one of the things that we take advantage of is I got my certification to teach English. So those opportunities are available for individuals to be able to do that. I've got a friend named Domain. He actually teaches English from school to school in different parts of Colombia. That allows him to do the tour of the country. He'll teach it for about 6 months in one location. And once that contract is up, because as you well know, Colombia is not necessarily a hire for life country, they hire you under contract.
Mhm.
And once that contract is up, if they want to keep you, then they negotiate another contract. And so he's able to tour Colombia back through teaching English. So that's an opportunity. Of course, we also do social media marketing. So everything from YouTube to books to courses online, we do that. To consultations to what else do we do? I mean, we do.
What else do we do?
we've got 3 YouTube channels. We've got savings and investments. I do day trading. So for those of you that wanted to invest in the stock market, and you're like, man, I always want to learn how to do day trading, but I just don't have the time.
Mhm.
One of the things that you get a chance to take advantage of when you're teaching English online or you're doing customer service online, one of the things that we do with our consultations, we also consult people that are looking to travel abroad but find employment. So we connect them to job banks that hire internationally, whether it be Amazon customer service that hires internationally. So you can do your Amazon job, put your little earphones in. You may do third shift. So at night, you're working your 5-6 hours and you're still making that American dollar, $15-16 an hour.
In Colombia?
In Colombia?
Like,
for example, we like to let people know our testimony. We live in a strata 5. The highest strata is 6, where the mansions are. And
can you tell people what the stratas are in Colombia? What is that?
It's depends the zone that you live. You know, like the 1 and 2 is about it's being like you're poor. You live in a poor area, not like poor, but a poor area.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how. No, that's how I do in Spanish. Not poor.
She took me to the hood. She told me a year in advance, like, Andrea, I'm gonna take you to the hood one day. Andrea, I'm gonna take you to the hood one day. Well, she told me
there's a different kind of hood.
I didn't even know that we were in the hood because the road ended. And I'm like, why is the driver driving off the road?
The whole hood in Cali.
And I'm looking like, clench my pearls. I'm like, this is hood. Like I'm from Detroit, Chicago.
Oh yeah, you from the hood.
No. The projects in Detroit, Chicago, like the suburbs.
That's what I'm saying. I went to the I met a really great friend. She is in Medellin. She's from Choco, but lives in Medellin. And she's like, come over for dinner. And that's one thing about Colombians. They'll invite you to their house for dinner. And I'm like, okay, sure. You trust me? Like, are you okay? Fine. So she gave me the address. I told the taxi driver and he looked at me. He's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, what's the problem? He's like, okay. I don't know why, but we just kept climbing up. We were in the mountains, and typically in the U.S., if you say I live in the mountains, it's something luxurious.
Right.
In Colombia, it's not luxurious. It is the hood. I love her. She's an amazing person, but even after the taxi dropped me off, I still had to like climb upstairs and past different apartments.
Wow.
It was so different. Culture shock, 1,000%. It is a different experience.
Yes.
So you live in the fifth zone, you would say, or like class. I'm not sure how.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I was saying, so 1, 2 is like poor areas, poor zone. Then the third one, it's middle class.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the 4 one is still a middle class, but a little bit high. The 5, it's like super rich. Well, we're not super rich, of course. Yeah. It's just because we close to Chippy Chopper Mall. That is kind of a little expensive. We got different malls right here. We got Minga, all the party area of Cali. So that's why we are 5, right? Yeah. We got some condoms. Is that
condominiums?
Correct? Yeah. Condominiums. Yeah.
Condos.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, here to north, so mansions. So that's what we are 5. And 6, of course, is when the rich people live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
for all of those like visuals that we see of Colombia, like narcos and all of these things, they don't show the Estrata 6s. They don't show. Because I went to those neighborhoods. I lived in about a strata 4 or 5, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I would do my salsa lessons were in about a strata 6, and some of my friends were in those zones. And let me tell you, those shows like Narcos and all of that, where they show like Colombia, just drugs and everything, you cannot let those types of images change your mind about, or like inflict types of images in your mind about Colombia, because Colombia has some of the most beautiful homes I've ever seen in my life. I cannot believe high-rise condos, beautiful apartments with pools, beautiful 2-3 story homes. Bogota, Medellin, Cali. I'm talking really beautiful homes, and your US dollar can purchase one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so people, when I was moving, and I'll ask you, Andre, this, but when I was announcing to like social media, I'm moving to Colombia, the first thing I got was, oh, be careful, they do cocaine. Oh, be careful, they're gonna sell you into this and that. And I'm just like, oh, geez, guys, I never lived there before, but I feel like I've read more about it than you. You know, I think you got to.
Correct.
What were some of the comments you got when you announced to friends and family?
Mine was as a male.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
as a male, mine was, of course, you're going for the ladies. You know, you're going for the beautiful
yeah.
Latin Shakiras, blah, 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 blah mindset. But it kind of died down fast because my coworkers who would make those jokes kind of knew my personality wasn't like that. They knew I was a reader, a thinker, adventurous type of person. So they kind of knew, okay, Andre's already been traveling anyway. So it was a part of the makeup of seeing, looking at his desk and seeing all
Yeah.
these travel photos. So this is a part of who Andre was. But for a lot of guys, they do go through that where you're just going down there for all the ladies. And it's like, not really. I mean, they do have some of the most beautiful women in the world, no matter what complexion.
Mhm.
However, that's not my first mindset. I'm a person that enjoys the country as
Mhm.
far as learning culture, and like you were saying, foods and things like that. So that's what I enjoy doing. The other thing was watch out because you might get kidnapped. You know, so you get in that
I got that so much.
your body
Yeah.
parts will be sold. Like if you go to Brazil, your body parts are going to get sold.
If you give papaya,
Yeah,
yes, of
yeah,
course.
right. Now
That's
explain what
now.
give papaya is.
Yes,
Give
please.
papaya. Give papaya, it's in Spanish that papaya. It's like when you're walking down the street in a street that you know that it's not too safe, but you walking with a lot of jewelry, an iPhone,
Mhm.
out, money, cash all the time. So that you giving papaya. You showing to the how do you say
To the
that?
community or to the world, or
No,
to a thief,
no, to the person who's going to
a
rob you.
thief. Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Like I got money, come and rob me.
Yeah.
That's when we give
Give
papaya.
papaya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give papaya.
And I always tell people you got to be smart when you're traveling. You know, in Spain is a predominantly safe place, but their highest crime is pickpocketing. You know, so you have to be smart no matter where you are. Always be smart. So I think that is something you got to take with you no matter where you are.
No
Andre,
matter.
you touched on something that I talked about in an old live stream that I would love to hear your opinion. So I talked about maybe a year ago, men who are just going to Colombia for the women alone.
Yes.
No interest in any other thing but the women. How do you feel about men who take on that way of thinking?
My mindset is, and I'm in like 11 travel groups on WhatsApp, so I go through this all the time with this conversation. My mindset is if you're a grown man, right, and you work hard for your money and you've been out there and you decide to because your cousin came into the barber shop and he told this story to everybody about his trip to Brazil or trip to El Salvador or Panama or wherever he went to, and he talked about all these lovely ladies, and he went and you're interested in going there and enjoying what he enjoyed. Y'all grown people, two consenting adults. I
Mhm.
give you that. However, you notice Andre gonna throw his however in there. There are a large amount of men that either are not looking to do that, but get to know women. Like my case, I met a woman, Andrea, but at that same time, she was willing to learn about me and realize, hey, Andre loves museums.
Mhm.
First place we hung out is at a museum. I learned so much about Black history in Colombia, the history of blacks in Colombia. Second place, we went to the zoo. So there are guys out there that say, hey, I might not be one to go for the ladies per se.
Mhm.
I may meet a lady that may be to open up some doors for me in different areas. And
Right.
then you have the third level, such as myself. We have guys that reach out to us, and ladies, but mainly guys that reach out to us, and they're like, listen, I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim or I'm a businessman. I'm very busy with my time. I would really like to be in something that's more solidified like you guys. Do you have any suggestions, any advice? So the sad part is that social media among black, especially black males, and I won't just say black males, I say males because I've seen of all walks of life, are giving more light to the guys that are coming down here for the party girls.
Yeah.
They're not giving enough light to the guys that are looking for something more serious or just looking to network. So that's why we created Love Crossing Borders, to showcase that there are men that are manly men that are coming down to these countries and enjoying networking opportunities, business opportunities, opportunity to save money, opportunity to meet a special person, and actually also explore new continent. You got a whole new continent down here. You don't have to just enjoy a country in South America. You got a continent.
Yeah.
All the way down close to Antarctica, all the way on up to Cartagena.
Yes.
So, and if you think you know Black history, you don't know anything.
Whoa.
You don't know anything. You will come to South America and discover one thing as a Black person.
At least one thing.
Right. There's so much to discover because only 4% of all of the trade ships that went through from Africa went to America. North America. Only 4%. 96% went to South America.
Yes.
And
Haiti.
Haiti, the islands, and to Cuba. So now, in other words, there's 96% of Black history that you get to discover when you're coming to South America.
Yes.
And so that's the other beautiful part. And that's why we exist, because we know that not every guy thinks like that.
Yes.
Yes, there are beautiful women here. But just like you say in our girl Afro Wahita, shout out to Maya in Bogota, her YouTube channel, she said the exact same thing. Men, and Andrea said the same thing. Men, we have to stop being so thirsty. We have to stop. Maya says creepy. You guys, you American men, you creep me out because you're like, rah, just rah. I like that face I made, rah. It's that's a thumbnail for you, rah.
Too much too soon.
Yes.
Too much.
And so, and I had learned that through Andrea myself. Like, she was like, okay, because Americans, we're like, time, come on, are you with me? You're not with me. Are we together? Are we not together? Andrea's like, slow down, player.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yes.
So yes, there's so many opportunities down here. I like what one friend of mine said. He said, if I were to come to Colombia and get into a business, it would be selling screen doors from the States or from China. Because screen doors. He said, it's amazed me how many Colombians don't have a screen door where they can just open up their door and let the fresh breeze in, or a screen window. He said it's amazing how they don't have that, but it may be something that they, at that, historically hadn't looked up on like we do. But if you implement it here, it's like another thing that I noticed: lawnmowers. You don't see lawnmowers in Colombia like that. We live next to a park, and I sit back and I see these guys with the little weed whackers going across the whole yard, and I'm looking like, and I see that quite often in Cali, and I'm thinking like, wait a minute, you do know that the hour that the three guys are taking to do one job, you can do that in 20 minutes with a lawnmower. And so it's business opportunities like that to where you can even come in and maybe get a partner that's Colombian, a business partner, and they can negotiate with city contracts with you. You being American may never get through certain doors, but having a Colombian partner or friend can help you get through doors that you may not be able to get through. For example, when we got this apartment, the one thing that Andrea said as we stood in the door, Andre, shut up, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't let them hear you. Don't let them know you're from the States, because we don't want gringo prices.
It's all the time.
Don't say
all
nothing.
the time. It's not just, it's all the time.
Oh yeah, that's
hard.
Oh my gosh, that's what my friend, when I first got there, that's what she said to me. Like, just don't say anything yet. Just stand there. I'm like, okay. And the prices are very much cheaper when you get the Colombian price. So Definitely learn Spanish and work on your Colombian accent if you want to get some cheap things.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is so awesome that you're highlighting the hardly talked about men that are traveling to Colombia for good reason. And I'm not saying it's bad to meet beautiful women in another country. I am not saying that at all, because I encourage women to go to countries and date men that interest them. I'm encouraging them because it's so cool to be with people and learn about people from other countries. I am not saying that Black men or men shouldn't do that. I am saying going there for the specific purpose of sleeping with women, treating them like trash, and then leaving their country. I think that is absolutely disgusting. I don't care if that's offending anybody. That is disgusting. I wouldn't want someone coming to my country and trying to do that with me, And I think I've met so many beautiful inside and out Colombian women that are my friends right now. That if I knew that some guy from my country was going to do that, I would be so upset. So that's why I made that live stream, which a guy, I'm not saying his name, y'all know who it is because y'all figured it out in the comments, but a guy, and I think there are others too, but one main guy, he made a whole video bashing me because I shouldn't be judging or whatever. But no, this is affecting my friends. And they've come to me and told me, like, why do they want to just come over and like sleep with me and stuff? Like, I'm not interested in that. Just like you said, Andrea, like the custom is, listen, we're gonna get married. Like that's what you grew up with, So have you had any prior experiences with American men, or is Andre the first American man that you dated seriously?
If I
Have you dated American guy before?
Yeah.
Okay, how was that experience for you?
It was completely different compared to Andre. It was super different.
How so?
because that was years ago. But to know that, because we always did this agreement to not talking about the past. But okay, this guy got kids, and for me, it's not a huge thing dating with someone with kids. But kids, they're almost close to my age. First detail, I don't like, and I told Andre, I don't like young dudes. Not even, I don't care if you're from Ireland or Spain. I don't even care. The age thing for me is something that is not made for me, because for me, dating with a guy that is 25, 27, 20, 29, for me, it's like, I'm going to raise my boyfriend. That's how I feel. Yeah, like I need to explain you what to do. I need to explain you, I work with financials, so it's such a huge thing for me. So I was like, I don't like to date with young dudes. So I always date with older guys. So in that time, I was like, yeah, more young. So more young. So he got kids, and that's cool. I mean, I never had a problem with that. But it's the fact that he wants me to move to the States and have that stepmother behavior, and like for me, it's like quitting from my Latin blood, my Latin culture, and I was like, I won't quit. First of all, I won't quit from my career. I was in 2021 that time. I won't quit my career. I was in the middle of my career in Colombia. I'm not moving to the States at all. And I'm young. You can't pretend to me act like an old lady, like a wife, have kids right now, because that's not something that I have in my mind. So it is different. I'm gonna say this. There's some guys from the state that they're the way that they think is different. Andre is super different because he is free. He's a free soul. He doesn't have any kids. If he has kids, okay, cool for me. I don't have any problem with that, right? But it's the fact that he doesn't have kids, so it's for me more. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool because we don't have that responsibility, and he doesn't have that responsibility. Like, babe, my kids got sick in the States. Babe, I need to back to the States for this. Babe, she's driving me crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah, teenagers. I know. I know.
I know I'm talking about the mother.
Exactly. So
She-
it's my daughter is going to move here. Okay, good. So it is such a different thing. So
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that Andrew doesn't have any kids. He got his step kids, of course, but kids. So yeah, I think it's different. It's different because some guys, and I respect their opinion. Like I want to find a Colombian girlfriend, Colombian wife, bring to the States, and I want to her act like this and be the perfect wife. That's something that some women will not agree with. They will not prepare for because we Colombians is we are super family. How do you say family
Oriented.
Yeah, family oriented.
Exactly. So it's to move to another country, different culture. It's just like this. It's
And
something like
you touch on something so important. You know, a lot of people, I'm sure, either they started watching this live or have preconceived notions that, oh, Andrea just wants to get her green card. Andrea just wants to go to America. I'm sure because we've heard it. We've heard the story countless times. And here you're saying, I don't want to move to America. And frankly, honestly, most Colombians I've met, whether in Colombia or here in New York, they don't want to move to America. They don't.
yeah.
You know, spoiler alert, you know, Colombia is actually a lovely place that most people don't want to leave. They mostly leave for economic reasons. But the people that I've met in the States, they work jobs where they are allowed to go home for 3 months at a time.
Right.
The first chance they can get, they're leaving America.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah.
like, oh, I just gotta get out of Colombia. Maybe some people, yes, but it's not always like, oh, the Colombian women, they just want to get you the green card, or Colombian men just want to get the green
No.
card. It's not always like that. So I'm so happy that you touched on that because that is the stereotype of a lot of Latin cultures, and it is not always like that. Colombia is really nice to be in. People typically don't want to leave. So, especially if they get a taste of how hard it is to live in America. Have you has Andre told you about what life is like? Like you have to work really hard for such little. It's not an easy life. So I wouldn't run to say, oh, okay, this person just wants to use me to go to America. It's actually like you said, Andrea, it's usually they want to bring you to America, but they want to transform you. If you want an American wife, just get an American wife. Why take a Colombian and try to turn her into, you know, that doesn't make sense. You know, so any men out there who are who's thinking about doing something like that, think again because even if that woman agrees, she doesn't know what she's signing up for.
Absolutely
Sometimes
correct.
America's like, wow, but then she'll realize she's unhappy because she has to be someone else
Absolutely correct.
in a completely different land. So,
Or just like Andrea just said, you would the person that you may be interested in, you may love a career woman. You may like the fact that she's independent and professional, beautiful, and she gets up in the morning to just go and take on the world while you're here in Colombia, right? And you fell in love with one. That's one of the things why you fell in love with her. But at the end of the day, for you to say, now I want you to alleviate that part of what made me fall in love with you, come to the United States and be a housewife.
yeah.
That person's gonna say, man, all that studying that I did, all the homework that I did all those years, so you're telling me to throw everything away, but I make good money. Yeah, I know about America. You guys work a 50, 60-hour week sometime. So I'll never see you. I'll see your money, but I won't see you. And I won't have a career. So you expect me to leave everything that I work hard for you. But you're not willing to at least try to spend some time in my own country to see if you can adapt here.
No, you know, Andrew doesn't know this because I never shared this because this is part of my past. But with this guy, I think he is still at war with the army, with the navy, the guy,
Military.
exactly. So he was like, okay, I think his mentality was, you're going to be in my house raising my kids, and I'm going to leave the country for months.
How fun!
Yeah,
Great
exactly.
life. I never get to see you.
No.
And that's how you know. That's how you know you're.
I didn't know.
But it sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud because it's like that's how you know you want something real. Because if you wanted to use him, you could have just went and took his money and done whatever you wanted, but you wanted something real, something that would last a lifetime. You wanted happiness. So I think people have to think of it that way, that money is not everything. I always felt as though I like attaining money, trust me, but money is relatively easy to get. Finding a true, genuine person in life is extremely difficult to find. So I would say prioritize that person, that amazing person first. Money will come if you work hard, but you can work really hard and you may not ever find a beautiful person inside and out. So that's what I would say. What is the future for love crossing borders? What is the future? What is happening, especially after this quarantine? What can we expect from Andre and Andrea?
One thing that we're doing, we're still doing our tours of Cali and Colombia for individuals that we have people that come down that are interested in getting veneers like we have. And like in the States, veneers are $15,000, $20,000. Here in Colombia, got our teeth done about $500 a piece. Full mouth, looking good. And so people come down here.
High grade medical professionals, by the way.
Yeah.
Great professionals.
A lot of people don't realize how great the medical opportunities here are in Colombia, especially cosmetic surgery. There's so many famous people that get there. People think they went to California and got it done. No, they came down to Colombia.
They didn't go to Cali. They went to Cali.
They came to Cali to get it done, and then they went back to the States and smiled away, or had the new behind or the new breasts. And so, but you think that they got it done in Miami or California, but nope, they came down here and got the Colombian prices. And so we talk and encourage and help people in regards to that. We still have books that are coming out. We're going to be starting, like I mentioned, Andrea started her second channel. My third channel starts at the end of the month. I already have Travel Unraveled already set up. So all I have to do is just go ahead and start dropping videos for that. And Travel Unraveled is about the top 10 this, the top 10 that when it comes to traveling. People just want to know that there are choices and opportunities out there. Even the top 10 places to apply for online jobs. If you want to work online. So it's not just top 10 fun things, but it's top 10 business opportunities that you will find in South America. Top 10 groups that you should network with in South America. So this is Travel Unraveled. So that's what we're going to be doing. The other thing that we're doing also with our brand, we're expanding. So we're about to go to Twitch. We're going to start doing some Instagram lives. We're going to start doing some Facebook lives. So we're looking to do those things. I didn't even think the other day that through StreamYard, we've been paying for StreamYard, but every time we do a live stream, I keep forgetting to put us as Facebook and YouTube.
You do it all at the same time.
Right, at the same time. So now I'm starting to realize how to expand it. The other thing that we're looking to do down the line to invest in property, because now we invest in the market, but we're looking to invest in property to be able to purchase some property for Airbnb. So even if we have an Airbnb in Medellin, whether we have one in the coffee region or whether we have one here in Cali.
We love coffee region. Have you been coffee region?
No, I have not. So when
the waterfall
back up, we going, right?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I'd like to get my teeth whitened. Yeah, I want to get my teeth whitened, and I'd like to go to the coffee region. So we're gonna have to.
Yes, you will love it. They have down here, the Parque de Cafe.
Parque Cafe. It's not too far away from here. It's just like 3 hours from Cali.
Yeah.
Taking a bus, right?
Yeah. A bus. And that's the other thing that a lot of people don't realize, that when it comes to cultural differences, you can take the Greyhound-ish bus that they have here. And the ones we've taken have had, there were some luxury ones that weren't expensive. We're talking about when we went from Santa Marta to
Barranquilla.
And it was
1,000 pesos. We paid per
15,000. So it's like $3 a piece to ride the bus. It had the behind the seats. It had the movie screen and I'm sitting up there watching Avengers, and at the same time, getting Wi-Fi so I can do work. So by the time we got to Barranquilla from San Andreas, I keep saying San Andreas.
San Andreas. I want to go to San Andreas though. I heard it's amazing. Yeah.
But what ended up happening is I got a chance to record and edit a video at the same time, enjoying a movie, riding the bus. But in the States, riding the bus is like, that's beneath me. I don't ride the Greyhound. I fly everywhere. But some places you can't fly into.
Yeah, so it's too short of a distance.
Right, right. So we look forward to that. Also here in Colombia is the world's tallest statue of Christ is in Colombia. A lot of people think that in Brazil, the tallest one is in, Christ the Redeemer is the tallest one. And the second tallest one is, of course, here in Cali, Crystal Ray.
Yep, I started there.
But now, I forget the name of the small town that actually have the tallest, the tallest statue of Christ. It's not the largest one in the world, but it's one of the largest ones, and it's the tallest statue in South America now.
That's amazing.
So much to see, so much to do. So we enjoy that expanding opportunity for touring and tourism, and also as I get better as a day trader, making more money for between 9 o'clock in the morning and 12 o'clock in the afternoon, or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. My day can be done and made $300, $400 in that afternoon. And people don't realize in Colombia, you make $300-$400 in one afternoon.
You're done for the day.
You're looking like
that's your rent.
$300 in Colombia is the total salary that you make per month.
Yeah, $300 a month.
That's what I'm saying. I paid maybe less than $200 a month for my rent. So if you're making $300 a day, you're done. You don't have to work long hours and hating your life and all of those things. So I am so proud of you. And guys, this is the power of YouTube. You're watching it right here. We all met through YouTube. I am just so proud of you, because you turned a situation that you hated and you turned it around, and now you have the love of your life. Now you have multiple streams of income. Now you're living in an amazing, even from what I see, beautiful home in an amazing city. You are changing the rest of your generation's lives, not just monetarily, but how they think. You can see something, just like your friend who saw that they needed the screens for the door. He saw a need and he said, business idea, boom. Moving to a place, a different country, will push your limits and your entrepreneurial mindset. So you're not just thinking, okay, let me just find a job online. Now you're creating jobs, because I'm sure he'll soon have employees where then he's boosting the Colombian economy. So you're not just going there to take, you're giving back too. So it's not just, oh, look at these Americans, they're just gonna suck up our resources. No, you're planting roots. You're starting a home. And I'm sure maybe one day you'll have a family and they'll have that entrepreneurial mindset as well. So I commend you. I want you guys who are watching at home to learn from this couple. It is not just, let's go and have fun. Yes, do that. But it is about changing your life. And that is what I experienced when I moved to Colombia. I'm starting my own business now, which I was able to take that free time and that clear mind space to think, how am I going to grow as a person and as an entrepreneur? And look at me now. I have like a jillion streams of income now, and I'm working on more. And look at you. This is amazing. So guys, no matter how young or old you are, please look at this lovely couple and take notes. When this live stream gets processed onto YouTube, take notes. That he just gave like 5 different ways to make money living in Colombia. He gave that for free, and he charges people for this information. And if you want to know more about how to get more information on how to start your business, what to do, his information and Andrea's information is in the description box below. Subscribe to his channel. Please do so, because guys, we need to change how we view money and how we view travel and Colombia. We need to. Before we wrap up, I just want to thank you both so much for coming. I'm so happy there are other like minds out there, that we're not just doing the 9 to 5 grind. We're actually letting money work for us. You know what I mean? While enjoying our lives. What's the point of making all this money and you can't enjoy it? So I am so thankful for you guys to be here, and I want you guys on again, because I'm sure after this video goes, people are gonna have questions. So please come back again, and I'll leave the floor for you guys. And I'm gonna be on their channel soon. So the link is below. Subscribe to his channel and check me out on their channel. But I'll leave
in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll leave the floor.
Anytime we get started, I kind of
I'm gonna go drink some water because I've been talking for a long time.
See what we learned to keep your drink nearby.
I know. I should have been more prepared. But yes, please take the floor before we go. And Andrea, please, a few words for everyone at home.
No, thank you so much to you, to invite you to your show. It's open doors for us. We just started last year, in April last year, and it has been so good. And I really appreciate the people who give us their time, because we value that so much, the time, because it is just the time to you come to our channel, to your channel, to our channel, and just enjoy the live stream and just or the video, and give a good information and open your mind.
Yes.
Like for example, like United States, I learned so much culture outside the United States, and YouTube and people and couples show me that you can make your dreams come true, right? You can find good people, good women, good guys out of your country.
Yes.
And you just not be afraid to experience that.
That's true.
Well said, Andrea. Amazing. Yeah. And then you too, Andre. Few words before we go.
The one thing that I can say is, I want to say, first of all, thank you for the example that you laid down.
Oh, thanks.
You really don't know the impact that you would have in somebody's life when you just uploading a YouTube video. You're thinking, I'm just building my brand, I'm see which direction I'm going to go. But there are people such as myself that watch you and your journey, Chanelle. And if I remember the video when you came from the movies, which is a little date. I remember that video. I don't forget about that one. And yes, I remember when you were in Medellin and you jumped into the balls, the little remember that?
Yes.
There are people like me that followed your videos and watched your videos and heard the little things that you and Amber had to say, and watch your journey into the career that you're in right now. And so I'm so glad that there are mature audiences out there. And so what I try to showcase, that there are many mature individuals that aren't just going to these countries just to party. Believe you me, Colombia is one of the #1 party countries in the world. If you want to dance and party and have a good time, they look for a reason. Wait a minute, the dog lost a tooth, let's throw a party.
Celebración, vámonos, like.
You know, Andre cooked her first meal, let's throw a party. Andre cooked his first meal, let's throw a party. So there is a reason to party and enjoy yourself in Colombia, but don't get locked off in the mindset that many have tried to sell you, that Colombian women, especially Colombian women, are one-sided. It's only one type of mindset that they have. They want to take from you. They want to take your American dollars. They want to take a passport. They want to take your time. They want to take intimacy. That's not true.
Yeah.
Those guys only deal with a small pool of women and share in that pool. And so they sell everybody else on the idea. But I'm so glad that we're all here to counteract that with the truth of all Colombian men and women are, for the most part, have been very friendly, very down to earth, very professional, always on the grind, whether they got 2 rocks to sell you. Hey, I got 2 rocks. You want to buy 2 rocks?
Right.
Or whatever it is. You know, the one thing I love about Colombia, Chanelle, is this. If only in Colombia that I've seen, do the homeless people when the light stops, the car stops, they got a trick to do for you.
Yeah, they work.
They do juggling. Homeless people in the United States, they walk up to your car like,
no, you're not. Do something.
Give me the
Work
money.
for that money. That's what we do.
When I got back to the United States and I saw a homeless person, I was like,
Oh,
what can you do? Can you do accounting? Can you sew clothes? Can you do something real quick? Because in Colombia, you gonna see, when the light stops, you about to see a magic show. You about to see somebody.
seriously.
I saw one dude walking on a high wire. He had a high wire from pole to pole, and he jumped on that wire. He jumping and flipping and doing everything. When he got done, came and got his money. So
All in the time till the red light comes back.
the red light. Yes. So that's what makes me, really believe in the future of this country. Because if homeless people can have an entrepreneurial mindset and they have nothing, just imagine what the future of Colombia is going to be like as far as entrepreneurship. If a person comes down here with opportunities as well as investment monies and open up doors for themselves. The last thing that I would like to say is, because I know how I can ramble, is come and take advantage of South America while nobody else knows.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, when everybody else gets down here, the price is going to be just like Costa Rica.
Yeah.
In Ecuador, the prices are going to go up. Everything is going to change. The housing market, the house that you could have got for this price is going to go way up here because there'll be so many people going to discover why waste our time in America when all I need to do is, in the United States, when all I needed from the United States really is United States money.
Yeah.
So if you're still making US money and you can live in whatever country in the world that you want to live in, a lot of people are discovering that. Cali has ranked several times on the top 10 list of places to retire in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't take advantage of why it's fresh, why it's only a few of us coming down, you're going to do yourself a disservice.
You're going to miss out.
Yeah.
You're going to miss out. Right when it's hot, because it is on the come up. And it's been, Colombia has been pushed to this view of, drugs and this and poverty. So while the world is thinking that, you can sneak your little way in with your business, with your ideas, your questions, and you can make yourself a millionaire. Honestly, you can make yourself a millionaire. I'm just gonna call it. While the world thinks one way, you're making your money, living your best life. And if you want to still live in the States, you can just set the foundation wherever you choose in Colombia and let it work itself out. You can employ people. You're giving people jobs. You're giving people opportunities. The opportunities are endless, honestly. And you said something, I just want to make sure people hear this as well. You said some people only deal with a certain pool of women. But if you are a certain way, that means you're attracting certain people. So no matter where you go, you will attract that person. You can go to Antarctica, you will attract a certain type of person if you are a certain kind of way. So you can't blame that on Colombian people. No. You have to blame that on yourself. Change who you are inside, and your surroundings will change you. Absolutely. All right, I just had to make sure I say that.
Yes, this is correct.
Yes, thank you guys so much. So we're gonna get ready for your live stream. I'm gonna get some water because I've been talking for 2 hours. So I'm gonna get some water. And I will see you on your channel in a few minutes. Thanks for and guys at home, and when this processes, comment below any questions you have for Andre and Andrea, and we'll try to do another video in the near future. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for coming, and we'll chat again soon.
All right, great.
Thank you so much.
All right, see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye. All right.